1. First and foremost, giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh in the word, and who the word and he calls God, and Yahweh Shai, who the word and he calls Jesus Christ. Brother Judah might come with a quick exhortation through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. Just wanted to, I was kind of meditating on this, and it's a it's a mighty chapter. Proverbs 16 is a mighty chapter. Nonetheless, the precept that I want to touch on, very mighty through the spirit, man, when you think upon it, right? So I'll get right into it. This Proverbs chapter 16, and I'll start at verse number 9, right? It says, a man's heart deviseth his way, right? So when you go into that word, it's just a thinking or ponder, or you may think to do one thing or this or that, but what it says, but the Lord directs his steps, right? So and it's just, according to this world, right, you think it's free will and you could do what you want, and right, but nevertheless, when you go into the precepts, it speaks otherwise, because the Lord ultimately have everything planned out. So nonetheless, you may think you're gonna do this, like say if it's a new job and you're like, dang man, I kind of want to take this or do this or whatever the case may be, job or just moving in everyday life. Right, the Lord is gonna ultimately put you in the spot, in the place where you need to be. Right, so like even when you go into the beginning of the chapter, Proverbs 16:1, it says the preparations of the heart, and man, and we know the scriptures, when it goes into the heart, it's not talking about the actual muscle that pumps blood, right? It's going into your mind, right, your thoughts, right? So it says the preparation of the heart, and man, and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. Right, so the same thing that Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 9 says. It says literally the same thing as, the things that you think but the end all be all, the way that you move and ultimately pan out to these certain things is of the Lord, man. All things are the Lord, man. That's why the Lord says man's goings are the Lord. How can a man then, think on his own self, roughly paraphrasing? So, it's just a mighty chapter. When I was reading it, I'm like, they just make you to understand the majesty of the Lord, man. Right? Man, think he just it's up to him with these certain decisions that you make, man. Whether it be, whatever the case may be, it's all of the Lord, man. Right? So, I'm going to get this other precept in Proverbs as well. I believe it's Proverbs chapter 22. Oh, Salakia 21, Salakia. All right, so this is Proverbs chapter 21 and verse from the top. It says, the king's heart, right? Now, remember, when you go into about the heart, it's all going into your mind, all right? So it says, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, all right? It says, as the rivers of water, it says, he turns it whithersoever he will. So just another verse on just going into how the Lord is the ultimate or the main one who's gonna make you do something, man. All right. Whether even when you go into the book of Judges, about Samson, right, with his parents when he wanted the heathen woman, they knew not why the Lord put that in the spirit to do it, because of the fact of the wars that they was going in. The Lord wanted to use that as an example. Right, in Judges, I believe, chapter 14. We can get it real quick, right? Just for edification's sake, right? Judges, I believe it's chapter 14 and verse number 1. It says, and Samson went down to Timoth and saw a woman in Timoth of the daughters of the Philistines. And he came up, and his father, and he told his father and mother and said, I have seen in Timoth the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore go get her for me to wife. When his father and mother said unto him, is there never a woman among thy daughters of thy brethren? Right. So he's like, why you want this heathen woman over, one of thy own stock? Like as it says in the book of Tobit. But kind of keep going. It says, or among all thy people, that thou goest to take thee a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines. And Samson said unto his father, get her for me, for she pleases. So she pleases me well. Right? But 4 is the point. But his father and mother knew not that it was of the Lord. Let's read that again. But his father and his mother knew not that it was of the Lord that he sought an occasion against the Philistines. For at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel. So, as a man think, you may think on the thing. I mean, just still touching on the same matter. You may think this and that, but ultimately, the whole grand scheme of why something happens is of the Lord, man, because He turned to that. Though a man thought this, hey, guess what? It's a reason, and the Lord always is the one who's gonna, you know, put us in that place where we need to be, right? So, just an example through the Spirit. Let's go back to that in the book of Proverbs. I believe I was in 22 to finish that out. It's like a 21. It says, "The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water, He turneth it whithersoever He will." Right. So, uh, just touching on that part, the Lord is ultimately the one who's gonna put you in where you need to be, man. Right. So, all praise to the Most High. I was gonna touch on. Oh, Slocky. So going back to that in Proverbs 16. All right, let's go back to that in Proverbs 16 and verse number 9. Right. So, um, what I was gonna get? Okay, con. So Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 9 is. Let's see. Oh, so like let's finish that out again. It says, "A man's heart deviseth his way." Remember, thinking, or your belief system, how you think something, man. Right? But nevertheless, it says what? It says, so like it. Um, Going back to that in Proverbs 16:9, so like a man's heart thinketh or deviseth his way, but the Lord directed his steps. So we can't get around that, man. Right? We cannot uh, get around that, man. You know. So all praise to the Most High. Like I said, it's supposed to be a quick video, just going into, uh, you know, the divine majesty of the Lord and how the Lord literally plans out. Everything is already planned. It's foreshadowed, right? Everything, man. The Lord planned out everything, man. The former of all things, man. All our paths is directed, man. Right? Our so-called, what they say in this world, destiny, your lot, your path is already chosen, right? So all praise to the Most High. Continue to endure, pray fast, read, study, and continue to read and do these things that's pleasing unto Yahweh and Yahushua, right? So, with that, all praise to Yahweh and Yahushua. Shalom.